Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is the third and the final part of a three-part series. We've been looking at a case study. We've been looking at a case study of Fresh Prince. Again, not his real name, who is in the roofing sales industry in Lagos and who is underperforming. So he has general poor performance, and also he has a troublesome client in particular that he's trying to deal with. So, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, after you're done listening to this, scroll back, listen to the two episodes before this one so you get the full picture. So, let's see. 2 episodes ago, we explored how, if you want to diagnose the reason why he's not performing well, we'd have to look at the quality of the prospects, the quality of the potential customers that he is talking to, the people that he's running after. We want to be sure that they match the ideal customer profile. Then we also explored how we need to look at the conversation frameworks that he's using, because sales is all about having conversations with people, essentially. So if you're new to this or if you're struggling, you actually need to have a framework. A framework is just a mind map or a guide that should, I put it now. That will let you know the key things that you need to hit in a conversation. So the problem with a bunch of you who are struggling in sales is that you're not using any kind of conversation framework. So every single time you talk to a potential customer, you talk to a stakeholder, you talk to an investor, you talk to, whoever, essentially you're just freestyling. And the problem with freestyling is you can't really improve upon anything because you don't know what works, you don't know what didn't work. And also the problem with freestyling is that it's very tiring. It's very, very tiring. You meet some people today, you're freestyling. Tomorrow, you're freestyling. The day after, you're freestyling. After 2 weeks, you'll be knackered. Like you'll be completely tired. You'll be zonked. Like you'll be wiped out. Like nobody can keep that up every single day. Just be freestyling. Creativity, coming up with new things every single day. Man, that is tiring. So what you just need is a simple framework that's just guiding you through the conversation. So if after you're done listening to this podcast episode, skip back 2 more episodes, listen to that, you will see some conversation frameworks that we explored. Let's see. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we explored in episode 1. Then in episode 2, we tried to look at whether it's a bad idea, whether it's bad that he hasn't closed the deal in about 3 months. And I can't remember. Okay, so we said, it depends. It depends on the typical sales cycle. So if we know what the sales cycle is for roofing sales, roofing sheets in Nigeria, then we'll know whether that's good or not. Then we looked at the sales cycle for residential roofing sales, commercial roofing sales, government contracts, things like that. So those are the sorts of things to look at to determine whether you're doing a good job or not. So let's say you're in business and your business is, let's say you sell Igbo. When I say Igbo on this podcast, I mean weed. So let's say you sell weed and you haven't sold any weed in, 1 week. Is that a good thing or, is that a good thing or not? It depends. What is the sales cycle for selling weed? So my own assumption is that if you sell weed, you should be, I'm not in that, I'm not in that industry. Let me just put it that way. I don't use and I don't sell, but it is my assumption that, people who need weed are looking for a good product, all the time. So my guess is if you can't sell Igbo in 1 week, then you're a bad salesperson, because I'm assuming that the sales cycle for the sale of Igbo should be like, it should be like 5 minutes. It's a matter of, oh boy, alpha now, you get weed. You say, I get now, which one? Blah, 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 blah. You transfer the money. So if in 1 week you haven't sold, then you're a terrible salesperson. You should, if you're selling weed and it's taking you 1 week to close a customer, you're a terrible salesperson. Really, really terrible. So it depends. Then let's see. Okay, so those are the things that we looked at in the past 2 episodes. Then what I promised you guys we're going to look at today was that our guy, Fresh Prince. Remember, Fresh Prince is not his real name. Fresh Prince has one troublesome client, one troublesome customer that he's dealing with. And I want us to look at that today because I know that 50, 60, even 70% of you are dealing with this kind of person If you're not dealing with this person at the moment, I know that this kind of person will cross your path. It's my prayer that God will keep this kind of customers away from us. But how for do? They're out there and they exist and they play some useless games, and it's just one of these things. So we should be prepared, because if you have not met this kind customer before, I promise you will see him soon, or you will see her soon. It's just like my own experience. Usually they're men. I've met a woman who plays these kinds of games. Oh, apologies, by the way. I'm making today's recording out and about. It's a Saturday. The kids are at catechism classes, so I'm just chilling in the car park, trying to get some work done. So sorry for the noise coming in. Oh, by the way, if you'd love to connect with me, just like our guy Fresh Prince did, again, not his real name. So if you'd like to connect with me just like Fresh Prince, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you want me to look at your business processes, if you have a couple of questions, it's the same number, 080-6466-2140. Or if you just want to be on my WhatsApp channel, that is not a problem. Send me a message on the same number and I'll hook you up. So, to the troublesome client now. So, Fresh Prince now went for a business exhibition, and that's a good thing to do to drum up customers, because it's not just social media that we should be doing. We should also be looking for activities that involve us going out to talk to people, because the thing about trying to grow your business by using social media and content marketing and things like that is it's a medium to long-term play. In other words, if you're going to rely on internet alone, do not expect to close business in less than 3 to 5 years on average. Of course, it depends on the it also depends on the industry. So, like, if you're coming in brand new to, let's say, wedding photography and doing wedding video and stuff like that, okay, you can be posting photo, posting video, posting photo, posting, and maybe in 2-3 months, some people will say, "Oh, how far now? How much do you cost?" But for this kind of thing, like roofing sheets, it'll take a while. So you should be running things on both ends. One way of looking at it is there are two different business philosophies. That is outbound and then inbound. So inbound is a philosophy or a principle of marketing or a principle of drumming up business that has you doing stuff so that people find you attractive, and then they reach out to you. They come into you. That's why it's called inbound. So social media is a form of inbound. Some people say advertising is a form of inbound. People argue here and there. Although for me, I think advertising is more of outbound. But anyway, you do things that cause people to run after you. That is inbound. Then there's another business philosophy, which is outbound. Outbound is when you go out, you start chasing people. So going to exhibitions, going to trade fairs. So for someone like Fresh Prince, going to Abuja International Trade Fair, going to Lagos real estate, Lagos Housing Fair, something, all these different shows. That's a good form of outbound. So Fresh Prince went to this exhibition now, and he met somebody there, and he thought the person was a correct guy, which is normal, because when you go for these sorts of things, you meet correct people. But then things started getting strange. They've had a couple of conversations, and Fresh Prince has sent this guy, let's call him Big Boss. So Fresh Prince has sent Big Boss 3 rounds of quotes. I repeat, Fresh Prince, again, not his real name, has sent Big Boss 3 rounds of quotes. 1, 2, 3. Now you can see why. I'm sure some of you can relate. You send somebody a quote, the person will say, it's too expensive. You send another quote, it's too expensive. You send another quote, it's too expensive. Now, my question for anyone who is at this point, like Fresh Prince, you send somebody 3 rounds of quotes. My question is, why? Like, why are you sending somebody 3 rounds of quotes? Before you send somebody even one quote, even one quote, one invoice, you should have had a couple of conversations with the person to try and figure out, is this person serious? Is there a sense of urgency around this person? Or is this person the kind of person that will waste your time? I repeat, Before you end up sending somebody 3 rounds of quotes, you send the first quote too expensive, second quote too expensive, third quote too expensive. You should have been asking some questions right from the get. Is this person serious? Is there a sense of urgency? Does it look like they're ready to make a decision anytime soon? Is this the kind of person who wastes my time? Is this person a waka pass? Is this person a time waster? Like you should have asked the person a couple of questions so that you know where you stand. My own personal philosophy, not lots of people agree with me, but this is my own personal philosophy. I only send a quote or an invoice as a confirmation. I repeat, I only send a quote or an invoice as a confirmation. As per we have used mouth and we have spoken about everything, we have agreed. So me sending the quote is just a matter of, oh, okay, before you transfer the bar, here is this paper that shows exactly what it is that we agreed on. So typically, I'm only sending one and I'm sending at the end. For some people, I'm not even sending quotes at all. All I'm sending is, here's my account details. But of course, for the roofing sheets and stuff like that, you can't be operating based on account details for that kind of industry. So, you guys keep things a bit more formal. But sure, I think I'll make some more podcast episodes about that. But please, let us stop using quotes. Let us stop using invoices as a part of our sales process. The quote or the invoice should not be a part of our sales process, the thing that we're using to move the deal forward. The quote or the invoice is the final thing that we should be sending at the end so that we can collect our money. So, okay, yeah, let me just leave it like that. We should not be sending anybody even one round of quoting if we don't know whether they're serious, if we don't know whether they're ready to take action anytime soon, if we can't figure out whether this guy is serious or this guy go waste my time, or this babe go waste my time. We should not even send one quote. So, the only way that we're going to be able to do that is if we use some of the conversation frameworks that I referred to in part 1. So, for those of you who are listening to this podcast for the first time, you see why I say, look, it's important. Just skip back and listen. Get the full picture. So, you use the conversation frameworks in part 1. And one of those conversation frameworks that I spoke about was BANT. B-A-N-T. It's an acronym. B stands for budget. A stands for authority. N stands for need. T stands for timeline. Now, for those of you who are more experienced, you guys will say, BANT is elementary now. That is Jambite levels. There are much more effective conversation frameworks and stuff like that. No problem. I agree. I won't argue. The reason why I've been talking a lot about BANT is just because it's a conversation framework that only has 4 elements. BANT, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elements means easy to remember. So it's the kind of thing that you can be talking to somebody and in your head, you can be taking it off. Okay, B, I don't dare ask B questions. Okay, no problem. A, okay, I don't dare ask A questions. Okay, N, I don't dare ask N questions. Okay, T, I don't dare ask T questions. All the other qualification frameworks that are much more intricate and much more, okay, no problem. 10 steps, 15 steps, no problem. Good luck trying to remember 15 steps when you're having a conversation with someone. So, BANT is not a bad place to start, but I'm not recommending it because it's the best. So, like I said, each item stands for something. Budget, authority, need, timeline. Budget just means money conversation. You suppose they have money conversations with people like early and often, quickly and often, so that you know where you stand from the beginning. It is a waste of time if your product is 35 million, but then you're talking to somebody who the person is like an 18 million somebody. The gap between 30 something million and 18 million is almost double. I mean, it's more than double self. You can't make up that gap. If your product is 35 million, it'll be nice to know if you're talking to a 30 million naira person. You now know that, okay, it will be harsh because, the gap between 30 million and 35 million is 5 million. It will be hard, but we go rougher. We'll make it happen. So you need to be having budget conversations early, money conversations early. At some point, Fresh Prince, I'm assuming you did this, but just in case you didn't, and for the benefit of people who are listening for the first time and who don't do stuff like this, at some point, Fresh Prince, when you were having the conversation with Big Boss after the exhibition, you should have said, "Oh, Big Boss, truly, truly, I on this thing that you're doing. I'd like to work with you guys. But boss, based on all the specs where we don't yarn so far, the way you describe this project and everything, honestly speaking, this is the sort of thing that with my own company, we'll be able to deliver the project at anything between 40 million on the high end to about 45 million on the low end. Is this an amount that you're willing to invest in?" You just say it with your mouth and put it out there. You say it, you put it out, and then you wait. From the way Big Boss, from his voice or from his body language, from the way he will hesitate or from the way he will smile or whatever, you will know the kind of person you're dealing with. If you say, based on all the things we've spoken about so far, projects like this typically would come in at about 45 million on the high end to about 40 million on the low end. How does that sound to you? Is this the sort of thing you're willing to invest in? Do you have any quotes that match those figures? Something like that. You just put the range out there and then you try and get some feedback. Now, if Big Boss responds and says 45 million on the high end, oh, yeah, sure, that sounds about right. You now know that, okay, we can continue talking because he said it sounds about right. It doesn't mean that you will close this deal, but at least we now know that, okay, we are closer to talking to someone who might be a serious prospect. If you start sending this kind of person quotes, okay, no problem. At least you had the money conversation. So that when you send the first one and the person says it's too high, you say, but chief, Big Boss, when we spoke, you said 45M sounds about right. This figure that I gave you, now 43M now, so what's happening now? Like, what's going on? You can now legitimately ask because before, he used his own mouth to say 45 sounds about right. So now that I've given 43, what's going on? You can see that now you can ask, and you're not even asking in a way that is too pushy because you're just seeking clarification on something that Big Boss used his own mouth to say before. So, B, budget. You should be having money conversations. Have them early and have them often. Don't use the quote, don't use the invoice to start the money conversation. I repeat, don't use the invoice, don't use the quote to start the money conversation. Use your mouth to start the money conversation. When you're in front of Chief in the office, so I say Chief, Big Boss, I think it's Big Boss I said. So when you're in front of Big Boss in the office, use your mouth and start the money conversation. When you have Big Boss on the phone, use your mouth and start the money conversation. Don't start money conversations in print. Don't start money conversations over WhatsApp. Don't start money conversations over text message. Don't start money conversations over email. Don't start money conversations over quotes. Don't start money conversations over invoice. Don't start money conversations apart from, eye to eye or mouth to mouth. Like I am seeing you, you are seeing me. Or I am talking to you, you are talking to me. That is the time and the best opportunity to start the money conversation. When we have started it like this, first, face to face or over the phone, we can now continue to be pricing over WhatsApp or whatever, but the conversation should start with your mouth. Right? Fresh Prince or anybody in this situation, start with the mouth. It will save you a lot of all this quote, back and forth. I know some people that have sent, like 4 or 5 quotes. No, I'm serious. Last year, I know someone who sent 5 quotes. That thing is effing frustrating. I don't know how you guys keep up with it. I send 1 quote, then I send another, then I send another, then I send another. That thing is maddening. So B, budget, money conversations. Have them early, have them often. Then, authority. Authority in the framework of BANT is when you're trying to figure out who it is that I'm dealing with and whether the person can authorize the transaction, whether the person can make the decision for us to go ahead. Because there are some people who can only say no, but they can't say yes. I repeat, for some of you who didn't get it, there are some people who can only say no, but they can't say yes. Now, let's say you're talking to Big Boss because you think Big Boss is actually the Big Boss. But meanwhile, let's say Big Boss is just the MD. But then as MD, he has to report to CEO, and CEO has to report to member of the board so that the board can approve the expenses. In this case, even though when you first saw him, you thought he was the big boss, really, he is not the big boss because he's MD. MD is answering to CEO. And then before the expense is approved, CEO has to report to the board. You are not talking to somebody who has authority. You're talking to somebody who is a credible person and a serious person within the chain. But the ultimate authority to say, oh yeah, go ahead, transfer 40 million, he's not that person. That is what A, authority stands for. So we should always be trying to figure out, this person that I'm talking with, who am I talking to? Is this the very last bus stop? Now the guy be this or not? We need to know. Too many of us are investing time talking with people, but we've not had the authority conversations. So, at some point, Fresh Prince, when you're having the conversation with Big Boss, of course, you never ask anybody, are you the big boss? That's an insult now. Be asking them, are you the big boss? No. You do it with style. So you talk, you say, based on the specs we've spoken about so far, this project could come in anything between 45 million on the high end to about 40 million on the low end. Is this the kind of investment that your company is willing to make? And the person says, that 40 million, is it negotiable? And you say, big boss, everything is negotiable now. Nobody in Nigeria with it, but we'll have to know some more about the project. But yeah, sure, everything is negotiable. Now, because Big Boss said that 40 million, is it negotiable? You now know that, okay, I'm dealing with somebody who is closer to a 40 million kind of person. You now know that there's hope. Okay, that 38 million, 37, maybe 35 million, like it can work when we start negotiating. So we move on. That is money, budget. You now say, oh, okay, so Big Boss, typically for these kinds of projects, when our clients want to approve them, for some companies, it requires board approval. Is that the same in this case? And the Big Boss says, oh yeah, sure, board approval is going to be required. You now know that apart from Big Boss, ultimately the final bus stop is the board. Then you will now stylishly try and throw some more things like, okay, really? So, at the board meeting, are you going to make the presentation directly, or is this something you route through your CEO? And then he says, oh no, there's no CEO. I'm the MD. I'm the final bus stop. It's just me and the board. Okay, good. Now, in your mind, you now know that it's just two people. You're talking to him. Ultimately, he has to submit to the board. At least now you know ahead of time. So stylishly, in future conversations, you will now try and be finding out like when the board is supposed to meet. So in future conversations, you'll be like, when was the last board meeting itself? And then he'll say, oh, that happened 2 weeks ago. You will now note it in your head that, oh, okay, it happened 2 weeks ago. Currently, this is the middle of the month. So therefore, the board meets at the beginning of every single month. You see, this is how you stylishly ask for information. You can't just go and ask people, how often does the board meet? Okay, well, you can ask how often does the board meet and get away with it, but how I put it, keep it conversational. This is not an interrogation. So that is authority. So need. Okay, now I know for sure that Fresh Prince has done the need. In fact, Fresh Prince, let me not lie. When I saw the 3 quotes, I was doubtful that did you even discuss need at first? Because when you discuss need for roofing sheets, that is when you actually do all the maths, all the calculation. What is angle of elevation? What is angle of incline? What is angle of decline? what is the wingspan, how many roofing sheets, blah blah blah, and so for these kinds of businesses like this, these are the fixed material. That is what is going to determine the cost. And Fresh Prince, your quotation, you went from 18 million, you now dropped to 15 million. From 15 million, you now dropped to 12 million. And I'm wondering that, did you do need analysis? Because if you did need analysis, I don't see how, first, from your quote, 3 million will just come out. Then after that, another 3 million again. In fact, have you noticed that every single time, Fresh Prince, you talk to Big Boss and he gives you a push, you remove 3M? You don't think he has already figured out that every single time he says too expensive, he knows that when he says too expensive, you will come out 3. So he knows that all he has to do is says, this 12 million is too expensive. And then you will now drop it to, what's that? 12 minus 9. That's, 12 minus 3, 9. 9 million. Now, those of you listening for the first time, those of you who are regular listeners, can you see why I say I hate discount? When you are discounting price, you're devaluing your offer. You're causing people to not rate you. They know they rate you again. All they have to do is just stand firm and say too expensive. And then you drop. Like that. And sometimes, when people drop too big. 18 to 15, that's 3 million. 15 to 12, that's 3 million. Man, it's much. Even if you want to go down, somebody says it's too expensive. How about moving from 18 million to, 17.5? You don't have to be just cutting like that. But anyway, all this negotiation game, and that thing hard. So don't even bother playing that game. My own opinion, don't even bother playing that game. So, where was I? Need. You should be having the conversation. Excuse me, having the conversation about need. What exactly do they need? Then, Fresh Prince. I suspect that when you were having conversations with Big Boss, you didn't have the conversations around T, which is timelines. Timelines just means, is there any urgency? Does it sound like they're ready to take action anytime soon? Does it look like there's something that they're planning towards? So let's rewind it. So you have the conversation with Chief. I say Chief, Big Boss. You have the conversation with Big Boss. So you say, Big Boss, based on all the things you've spoken about so far, looks like this project can come in anything between 45 million on the high end and about 40 million on the low end. Does that match with the scope that you guys have discussed so far with the company? And then Big Boss says, now 40 million. Fresh Prince, now 40 million. Will you guys negotiate? Everything is negotiable now, but let's go forward now. We need to come and do site inspection. Let me see the factory. Let me go up there with my boss. We'll measure everything. That's all will determine the final price. Okay, but that 40 million we can negotiate. Don't worry, Big Boss. Now you're my guy. Now we can negotiate. Don't worry, I got you. So okay, no problem. That is budget. Then authority. So Big Boss, for that Elizade project that we did that time now, when we submitted our final invoice, the thing now had to go to the board. So for you people, is it the same thing? That the board will approve them? Is it you that will just cut the check? So no, now I'll be MD now. I have the final authority. I'm the one that will cut the check. Good. In your mind now, you now know that, okay, I'm dealing with the right guy. Then you have already agreed. Need N. All right? Because you had the first conversation that you used to just give him that rough 45 to 40. And you've agreed that boys have to be on site and measure the roof and, the wingspan and all those technical stuff. So need, that one will happen later. So timeline now remain now. So you now ask him now, okay, by the way, Big Boss, so why is it now that people are changing the roofing sheets? You just ask, why are you changing the roofing sheet now? Then you keep quiet. The Big Boss says, we don't enter rainy season, and on that last rainy season, the kind leaks we get, as in they didn't even spoil one of our machine. When somebody says something like that the reason why we are changing is because we had leaks in the last rainy season, and the leaks nearly destroyed one of our machines, Can you see that sounds like somebody that has urgency? There is something that might happen sometime soon that causes them to want to act. That is rainy season, don't they show small, small. Now, the reason why we should be asking about timelines or urgencies, that is the thing that will give us confidence and give us fuel when it comes to the follow-up. You will now know whether you can follow somebody aggressively. You could a close mark arm, calling the person every 2 days, every 3 days, or you will relax and be calling them every 2 months. It's based on urgency. It's the urgency that will tell you. So somebody who is ready to take action next week, you had better be calling that person every 2 days. Stay on this thing because the person is getting ready to move next week. The person who is going to take action in another 10 months, okay, you can follow that person and, you can relax. You call them every month or every three weeks. You see? So this is how, because a lot of you get very confused, like, oh, am I being too aggressive? Honestly speaking, I don't know if you're being too aggressive. Like, what's the timeline? What's the urgency? I can't say you're too aggressive, and I can't say you're not too aggressive. It depends. Like, remember back when we were in university, you like a girl, you're hanging out with her, you just follow her normal. But then you're reading your final exams and people are going to leave soon. If you don't lock this thing down, people will graduate and then she will now send you IV that she's marrying somebody else. So, that's when you now sit down and have that conversation, that, hey, babe, that I want you to be my girlfriend. There's your matter I want to die on. You push for that commitment because you know that urgency, timeline, graduation is coming, and you don't want holiday to go, and then next thing she will now be inviting you that she's getting married to Alhaji, so. You want to be the guy that she will marry. So that's when you now push for the commitment because something is happening. Timeline day, there's urgency in front. It's the same thing with business as in relationships. We need to figure out the timeline. So, Fresh Prince, honestly, I'm not sure if when you're having conversations with... Sorry, one moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I mentioned that in the parking lot because the kids have catechism. And lo and behold, from nowhere, one of my cousins that I've not seen in almost 5 years. No, I think more like 7 years. I haven't seen this my cousin 7 years. You won't believe. As I was making this podcast recording, my cousin was just strolling by. Anyway, Anyway, don't mind me. Let me not use my family issues now. Derail the podcast. Where was I? I've lost track. So I think I was saying, Fresh Prince, in the conversation that you've been having with Big Boss, I'm not sure if you've been bringing up timelines at all. I'm not sure if you've been bringing up urgency. Why do you need to replace the roof now? Is there any project that you are currently working on? Okay, to change this roof right now, is it a directive that has come down from the board? Or, there are questions that you ask that you will get a sense, okay, that this is the reason why they are moving now. This thing has broken, this thing has damaged, or maybe you never know. Sometimes it's even a superficial something. Maybe they just want to do, every once in a while now, some people just say, we don't like how everything is looking. Let's just paint everywhere, change the roof, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's just cosmetic, but you need to know. Because now, if it's one of those cosmetic things, for instance, somebody just says, we haven't painted this factory in 10 years and, the roof is now looking rusty. If it's a cosmetic something, it's good to know because you now know how serious they are or not. If it's just cosmetic, that's the kind of thing. When I say cosmetic, I just mean outside, me everywhere just fine. If it's a cosmetic something, then you know that it's the kind of thing that they can change their mind because the business owner can come and say, what? Look at this building. See, we haven't painted this thing. Look at the roof. Everywhere rusty. Blah, 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 blah. Go and give me a quote. That we need to make this place look fine. Make this place look fine. Then by the time you give the business owner the estimate, you say, what? 100 and something million just... You say, you know what? If it's 100 million, just leave it. Just believe in it. It's okay. It's okay. The roof is still okay, Abby. It's not leaking. No, it's not leaking. Nothing damaged. Nothing damaged. It's just looking rusty. Just leave it. If I have 100 million for something else, just leave it. Just leave it. So ask timelines, urgency. We need to know, why are they moving now? So it is when you ask all these questions of big boss that you will know whether you're dealing with a serious person or you're dealing with someone who's going to waste your time. If you ask all these kinds of questions early in the beginning, you will know before you start that, whoa, this person I'm talking to is the kind of person that I want to show me shege, that'll be pricing me groundnut, that'll be doing me back and forth, that'll be doing me corner corner. You will know right from the beginning. Now, in that case, if you don't have anything better to do, okay, no problem, you can engage. But the thing is, at least you know fully well and you decided to engage, not that somebody's using your head. And if you have other things to do, other prospects that seems to be much more promising, well, then go ahead and deal with those people, because from asking questions back and forth, you have seen that this is not a serious somebody. But please remember, for the quote, start money conversations with your mouth, face to face where possible, over the phone if you can't be face to face, or over Zoom meeting. But your mouth must be involved, your physical lips. Your mouth must be involved when it comes to money conversations. Start it with the mouth. Even if you want to be negotiating over email or WhatsApp, no problem, but start with your mouth. Don't use the quote. If you use the quote or the invoice, you will get trapped in this silly game. And if you guys are not tired of the game, continue. But for me, I'm tired. That is the reason why I have all the big conversations up front. And then I'm sending the invoice at the end, because this is how I will collect my money. So this is a formal notice, and then it's a summary of everything that we have discussed. But if you don't mind, okay, continue sending quotes out. The problem with this quotation game is, let's say you're talking to 2 people every single week, and with each person, you have prepared 5 quotes in the last month. I mean, just think about it now. 2 people per week, 8 people per month. 8 times 12 is what? Is that 90 something? I'll be 100 and something. And it's a good thing my children are, don't like podcasts, so they won't know that I'm bad at math. Just think of the number of PDFs you're creating every day. Creating PDFs, just wasting your time. Editing invoice, just wasting your time. Anyway, so Fresh Prince, let me talk to you now directly. Fresh Prince, to move from 18 to 15, from 15 to 12, you're devaluing your offer, and you're making big boss feel as if there is no objective basis for the quote. If every single time I push back you remove 3 million, it means that you are trying to build a house on top of my head in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? For those of you who are not Nigerian, what we mean when we say you want to build a house on top of my head, it means okay, how will I put it now? Oh boy. Okay, if somebody says you want to build a house on top of my head, what the person means is you are trying to take advantage of me. You're trying to make advantage of me and get unrealistic, excessive profit margins from me. So that's what it means. So if you remove 3 million every single time, that means you want to build a house on top of my head. It means that there is no rational basis for this cost that you have given me. So even if before he trusted you, now he will go and start asking other people that come, how much for this project? He will now start doubting. So let's stop playing all this discount thing. You are devaluing your offer. Then you've also shifted the balance of power. Big boss now knows that he has the power. You have shifted your status. You're no longer a professional salesperson. You are now a beggar, because you're chasing him. Say, bros, follow me, come buy. Follow me, buy market. You've lost it. You're now becoming like these people in the market who chase people up and down. Then you also put yourself in one kind desperate mindset. And look, that desperation thing sucks. The problem with the desperation thing is that it kills your motivation. It kills your mojo. The thing kills your drive. You now won't even have liver to be calling other people. So, that's why I say avoid all these things. Avoid. Figure out quickly, is this person serious? Oh, they're unserious. Okay, I can't figure out if they're unserious. Move. Other people. You will stay here. It will kill your motivation. It will kill your drive. Everything is just shifting in big boss's favor. So, how will I put it now? Anyway, Sha, don't be discounting. I'll make podcast. I've already made podcast episodes about that before, and I'll talk about it some more in the future. But let's say you want to know now, legitimately, like how can you negotiate in this kind of things? It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. Remember, I'm a sales coach and a business development consultant, so I am not a negotiation specialist. That is why I advise that apart from listening to my podcast, go and look for other podcasts on negotiations as well. Unfortunately, there is no Nigerian podcast on negotiation that I have found, so I can't refer you someplace else. All of them are Oyibo podcasts. But it's okay, that's not a problem. Even though it's an Oyibo podcast, listen to it and just try and see how would this principle apply. Okay. So speaking of principles now, for those of you who are listening who have studied negotiations, because my first degree was in law, so they teach us some of these stuff, or you go for seminars where you learn one or two things. Now, in the area of negotiations, there's something that they called unprincipled concessions. Unprincipled concession just means, concession just means, how will I put it now? Concession. To concede, to means I agree. Concession just means, I agree. That's what concession means. So, in negotiations, they say, do not make unprincipled concessions. That means, do not be agreeing to anything without any principle. Do you guys hear me? Do not be agreeing to something without any principles. Do not be agreeing to anything in negotiation that does not have an underlying basis. And most especially, how will I put it now? Okay, let me put it this way. Don't agree for anything without asking for anything in return. Let me put it that way. So that's unprincipled concession. If somebody says too expensive, then you go from 18 to 15. You didn't ask for anything. That is an unprincipled concession. You gave gap. Why did you give gap? What is the basis? You don't know. You didn't explain it. Did you ask for anything in return? Nothing. When you make unprincipled concessions, you devalue the offer. You shift the balance of power. You start looking desperate. You assume lower status. Everything will shift in the other person's favor. So if you must agree for something, ask for something else. If somebody says you're too expensive, blah, 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 you will haggle back and forth. The person say, what about 50 million? You can say, oh yeah, sure, 50 million, we can do that. But in return for this 15 million, you will have to do this for me. You will now say something that works in your favor. That is how you kind of maintain the balance of power. You don't sound too desperate. And then you definitely don't devalue your offer. And then apart from that, you will also teach the person. The person will figure out that, every single time I ask Fresh Prince for 3 million off, he gives it to me. He now asks me for something else. Guess what? The person will stop asking. The game will end. After a while, people figure it out. Every single time I ask him for something, he asks me for something. So therefore, they will stop. No unprincipled concessions. So when you're negotiating and then the money thing comes up, no unprincipled concessions. What are the kind of things that you can ask for? There are different things. Now when it comes to money, there is the amount per item. So in this case, the amount per roofing sheet. Remember, Fresh Prince sells roofing sheets, so there's the amount per roofing sheet. Then there's also frequency. Frequency just means how often do people come back. And then there's also volume. Volume just means how many are you buying now. These are the things that you will play with. If you're in this, excuse me. So obviously, if you're a consultant, can consultants do this? Anyway, for people who sell mostly physical items, these are the things you play with. The amount. How much are they paying per one roofing sheet, per one solar panel, per whatever. Then there's frequency. How often is this person going to come back? Are they going to buy this year only? Maybe they want to buy in January, then they want to come back in December. Then there's volume. how many are they buying now? Because if you're giving discount on roofing sheet and the person is only buying 10 from you, you're wasting your time. You're giving somebody a sweet discount, but then they only buy 10 roofing sheets. Man, that thing does not pay you. And then maybe they only buy from you once every 5 years. That thing has not paid you at all. But then if you give somebody a discount on one roofing sheet per one, but then they buy 6,000 and they want to come back in December and make another order, can you see that, okay, the picture is different? Okay, I gave them discount. I guess it was a heavy discount, but at least they bought 6,000 units in January. And they have promised us that they are coming back in October, so long as we can hold the same price for them. Okay, it's doable, it's workable. So those are the things you play around with. Somebody says you're too expensive. People are quoting 2,500 per square inch, but your competition is quoting 1,008 per square inch. You can say 1,008 per square inch. Okay, no problem. We can match 1,008 per square inch. But to do that, instead of buying 1,000 sheets from us, you will have to buy 4,000 sheets from us for us to give you that price. You see? You don't get lever now. You don't get leverage. Like you people are playing back and forth. You're actually negotiating something. It's not just a matter of somebody will jump. You now say how high. Then frequency. Say, look, bros, that price, that 1.8 you're asking for per square meter. Honestly, bros, that thing don't make sense. The only way that thing will make sense is if you're buying 4,000 sheets from us now, and that other project, that one in the Yanokbaja, if you can give us the contract for that one, let's just do everything once. So that you do this one now, the one for Yanokbaja, you come back in July, then we can make it work. You're trying to make sure that they come back. And then, of course, volume. In fact, for me, volume is like the default. Somebody says, drop the price. You say, oh, fantastic, I can drop the price. But you now have to buy a whole lot more. So, there are levers that you can pull when it comes to negotiation, but no unprincipled concessions. When you make unprincipled concessions, you're making things pretty bad for yourself. So, somebody asks for a discount, no problem, I can give you the discount, but you give me this in return. So, that's how it works. But remember, my area of specialty is sales, not negotiation. So go and look for a negotiations podcast and then learn accordingly. Now, this guy, Big Boss, the reason why he's problematic is because he has said something that gives me PTSD. PTSD, that's a post-traumatic stress disorder. The reason why it gives me PTSD is because when I was young in the event space, somebody used that thing on my head. So anytime I hear this, it thing sends me into convulsions. When somebody says, oh, then let's do this thing now, it is good for exposure, or I will promote you, or I will introduce you to somebody else, or that thing gives me serious PTSD. So that's what Big Boss is saying now. Big Boss is saying this 12 million is too expensive, but you know what? Drop this price. Then I will now promote you. I'm connected. I'm in the industry. I'm an industry person. Like, people know me now. Like, everywhere in Lagos, they know me. If you call my name, people know me now. Like, I'm connected now. That guy, I'll hook you up. Instead of this 12 million, give me 9. Then I'll be promoting people all over on my social media. I'll introduce you guys now. Not me now. It's me. So when I hear people talk like that, I have PTSD. My initial reaction when I hear people talk like that is I tell them, run away. Nothing is there. Anybody who is saying promotion, like, people know me, I will connect you, I'm connected now, like, no be me, that just, when you enter Lagos, just call my name, like, run. That guy is looking for a mugu. Run, leave that guy. Except if you are also a sharp guy and you know how to play these games, then engage him. But if you're an ordinary person like me and you don't know how to do all this stuff, just run. The person says promotion, this, whatever. Just tell the person, oh, okay, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Just follow the person and talk, and then just leave, and then never call the person again. That's it. I can assure you the person is not going to call you back, so you haven't lost anything. So that's my initial reaction. Anybody says promotion, partnership, run. But assuming you don't want to run, you want to hear the person out. Okay, you need to start having some very specific conversations. If the person says, no problem now, I go promote you now. Like, I'll promote you, introduce you to people, something, blah, blah, blah. Ask specific questions. Oh, you want us to do this? You want us to go to 9 million in exchange for promotion partnership, right? Person will say yes now. Now don't you trust me? I'm your guy now. So, okay, sure, no problem. When you say promotion, what do you mean exactly? These people, they're looking for Mugo. They know that they will say promotion and you will think the best. Ask them. Sometimes what the person means when they say promotion is that, let's say the person has a newspaper, they'll say they'll put one free advert for you. Free advert for you in one newspaper, one advert only, is not going to help your business. So ask them, oh, promotion, what do you mean? Then you will hear. Then you can now start having a serious conversation. If the person owns a newspaper that is widely read in Lagos and they say they'll give you one advert, you can say, look, like, bros, that is not going to work now. Are you saying one advert in a month? I'll be one advert per week. And the person says, no, once a month. You know, say, no. You can now start haggling and negotiating over something that, you know what? You give us one advertisement, but that one advertisement will be one advertisement for free every single week for at least 6 months. At least now you're talking. Because you have asked the person that, oh, you say promotion. When you say promotion, what does that mean? Because some people, when they say we'll promote you, what they mean is when they're having meeting at Ikeja Country Club or at Yoruba Tennis Club or something. Excuse me. What they mean by promotion is that they will invite you there so you can sit down in the meeting and then maybe you can get connected to one or two people. If that is okay by you, okay, no problem, take it. If it's not okay by you, then you tell them that, chief, like, look, that one doesn't work for me. Then you can now start negotiating back and forth. Okay, you know what? Instead of me coming to the meeting and trying my luck, how about you, I don't know, send me phone numbers of 20 people who attend the association. Let me call them up directly or something. And I don't know, Sharp, but once you start asking, what do you mean when you say promotion? What do you mean when you say introduction? What do you mean when you say partnership? You are now beginning to have some very, very concrete conversations. And you can decide whether this is good or not. So, what do you mean when you say promotion? Oh, okay, promotion. Okay, cool. Over what kind of medium exactly? Oh, you want to introduce me to people? Oh, okay, all right, no problem. Which events are we looking at? What is it that you have in mind? Oh, really? Okay, so who else is supposed to be? The more specific you can get, the better. If somebody says, I'll connect you, So like when I was in events, I just realized that all those people who used to say connection, for me, when I started pushing back, like, okay, all right, cool. So are you saying that by the time we're done with this wedding, because, you have 5 guys on the train and then you have 16 girls on the bridal train. So are you saying that after this, you give me the phone number of all 16 babes? Let me try my luck. Let me see if I can get business from there. Is then you start seeing people's true colors. Oh, we say, all my bridesmaids, I should give you their phone number because of how, because of what? Then in my own mind, I'm thinking, you just said you're going to hook me up, you're going to connect me. If at the very least, you won't connect me with all the bridesmaids here, so I can pursue them and cover their own wedding later. Like, what exactly do you mean by connection? So what's the nature of the promotion? Over what medium? How are we doing this thing? Oh, you want to connect me? Ask the person. To who? Because sometimes some people say they'll do you connection or they'll do you promotion. And yes, they'll promote you and they'll connect you. But the people that they'll connect you to are useless for your own purposes. You can't collect anything from them. So you ask them. You need to know the target base. Who exactly, what kind of people exactly are you planning to introduce me to? For people who will throw their social media following in your face, because there's some people that will say, oh, I'm connected on social media, I have 10 million followers, blah, 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 blah. Like, you ask questions. Oh, okay, fantastic. Oh, that would be good. You tweet about us. Oh, how many times are you going to tweet, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, what is your estimated reach? How many people actually look at the post, blah, blah, blah. Ask some questions. Oh, I would love to explore this promotion partnership that you have in mind. Okay, that's not a problem. Big boss, can I come over to your office next week so that we can we can narrow things down. I want us to come up with goals for this promotion campaign that we're going to come up with. What are the metrics that we're going to use to track whether we're on course or not? By the time you start digging down like that, you will find that a lot of people will disappear. And the reason why they will disappear is because they are serious. They are looking for mugus. Those people are idiots. The person who engages with you and who says, yeah, sure, come for the meeting, and you people are talking and all, no, okay, maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope. Maybe truly the person is just broke at the moment and he's trying to see how he can get a good deal, and the person means well. So when somebody says promotion, partnership, exposure in exchange for lower price, my honest opinion, run away. But if you're brave and you want to engage, just try and make this thing more specific. The more specific you can get, the better, so that you know what to hold people to. Now, okay, 55 minutes. Okay, let me bring it to a close now. So, Fresh Prince, right? Remember, he sells roofing sheets, but he's not the owner of the business. He sells on behalf of somebody. Now, Fresh Prince Oga was exasperated, understandably so, because it is frustrating. It is annoying to be sending somebody paper back and forth. So, Fresh Prince Oga told him, look, just call up this guy, call up Big Boss, and just ask him how much is he willing to pay. I'm tired of all this back and forth. So, Fresh Prince, your Oga, his intuition is correct that you have to call up and start asking some strong questions. But unfortunately, what your Oga advised you to do is the wrong question. It's the wrong question. When you ask that kind of question, how much are you willing to pay? You're making things even worse. You're becoming even more of a beggar. You're becoming even more desperate. Big Boss now knows that he has the upper hand, for sure. And he can use you people to do rubbish. He will ask for 9 million, I can assure you. I bet you he's going to ask for 9. The last one you sent was 12. I bet you if you ask him, he'll ask for 9. He might even ask for 7 himself. Don't be surprised. He'll ask for 7 million. The question to ask when you are at this level, you're exasperated, you don't know, am I going forward, am I going backwards? The question to ask is, you actually go back to the beginning of the sales process. You go back to the beginning of the sales process. You ask questions to be sure that you're talking to a qualified somebody, to a serious somebody. The question to ask is, Big Boss, we've been talking for about a month now. We've gone from 18 to 15. From 15, I don't give you 12. This 12 self, you said 18 too high. Bros, are you still interested? Do you want to move forward or not? That's the question to ask. When you start asking questions around whether they're interested or not, you might be surprised that Big Boss is not ready to take action now. He actually wants to take action in October. He just wanted to tie down a good price now. Go back to the beginning of the sales process. We've been talking for a while, blah, blah, blah. Like, are you truly interested? Is this really a project that you guys want to start this year? Now, bro, we've been going back and forth. It's as if there's something you don't really need right now. Those are the kind of questions you should be asking. Go back to the beginning. Are they interested? Do they have a want? Do they have a need? Is there any sense of urgency? You can even ask questions around budget. Bro, we've been dancing around back and forth and stuff like that. It's as if you guys didn't do any research before we started this thing. Ask. You'd be surprised. I've asked somebody that kind of question and the person admitted, well, yes, you're the first vendor that we've spoken to. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the bloody hell? I'm the first person that you're talking to. You didn't even go outside into the market and see what's up. So I now had to educate them that, look, you know what? Based on how things operate in Abuja, high class, middle class, low class, like this, go and do some research. When you're ready, let's talk again. I'll call you next week, Thursday, just to see how far. So what do you think? Person said, okay, no problem. When I called the person next week, Thursday, okay, now we had a more realistic conversation because the person had gone and spoken to other people. So, yes, by the time you're doing all this back and forth, you need to ask the person some hard questions. The question you must not ask is, how much are you willing to pay? Don't ask that question at all. Don't ask that question at all. Go back to the beginning. I thought you were interested. looks like this is not something you guys, want to do right now. Okay, chairman say you should come and ask me for quotes. Yeah, I understand. But honestly speaking, is this the kind of thing that chairman even wants to invest in now? Oh, big boss, we've been talking since, but it looks like you guys have other priorities at the moment. Ask. You'll be surprised by the answer. Oh yeah, well, actually, we had this problem with this factory in Songota, and we're trying to deal with that, and because of that, we're pressed for cash and blah blah blah. Okay, at least now you're beginning to know the true situation on ground. It's better than just staying in the dark, being frustrated, and not knowing what exactly is going on. I gave this guy 18 million. He said it's too much. I gave him 15. He said it's too much. I gave him 12. He said it's too much. He's now telling me that Mo will do a promotion partnership. Yeah, your guy is correct. Go and ask some questions. But the question I told you to ask is the very wrong question. Don't go and ask somebody how much are you willing to pay. Go back to the beginning of the sales process. Are they interested? Do they have a want? Do they have a need? Can they afford this thing? Is there any sense of urgency? What are the priorities that they have at the moment? And Fresh Prince. Honestly speaking, I'm look. I feel your pain. I feel sorry for you. I really feel sorry for you. I understand how it can be. He's that one client, that one lead that looks as if it was close to closing. You haven't closed anything in 3 months. So I understand you're desperate right now. And your guy is breathing down your neck. But honestly speaking, by the time you finish this episode with this guy, big boss, by the time, whether if the thing closes, I hope it closes. If it closes, good. If it doesn't close, well, no Allah. But from now on, your greatest security, all right, Fresh Prince, and anybody in this situation, listen up. Your greatest security is prospecting. Prospecting means the activity of thinking, strategizing. Who has a want or who has a need for my product or my service? Then I go out and start talking to these people. See, your greatest security is prospecting, talking to many people. If you are having 7 conversations right now, you will not feel as if Big Boss has you by the testicles. The only reason why Big Boss can be squeezing your brokers like this is because you don't have anybody else to talk to. If the other people to talk to, your body language will show. You'll be paying attention to other people who are more serious. It's Big Boss that will be chasing you. This is why prospecting is important, though. Prospecting gives you confidence. It gives you peace of mind. If at any single point in time I'm talking to 4, 5, 6 people, one person can't be forming Yanga for me. It's not possible because there are other people. I'll go and pay attention to other people first. In fact, I might even close other things and then later realize that, oh, that is true. We didn't even talk to this guy. You know what? It probably wasn't even going to close anyway. So please, Fresh Prince, after you finish prospecting, double your efforts. You should always have a few people in the pipeline. Since you're in roofing sheets, okay, not everybody buys roofing sheets. Okay, I don't know what is ideal for your industry, but I think you should always have for every single month. If you have like 4 or 5 people that you are shadowing every single month, it might not be a bad idea. Nobody will be doing you anyhow, because there's hope. Okay, this one didn't close. Okay, no problem. I'm still talking to 4 other people. Then also, this is one trick that salespeople don't realize. The best time to prospect, or the best time to make sales is when you have collected money. I repeat, the best time to go out and start making sales when you've collected money because your motivation is high. So, especially since you're in roofing sales and your commission is big, you sell something, by the time they pay you commission, your commission will probably be like, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, depending on how much you sold. So the best time to call, when you close that deal and your guy sends you a commission 3 million, once that 3 million hits your account, what you do is you go out and you declare with your boys, you have a couple of drinks, or you pay your tithes, depending on whether you're for God or for the devil. Shall you pay your dues? Then the very next day, without motivation, pick up the phone and be calling people. The bass in your voice will be rich. The confidence that you have will be palpable. Like people will feel you. The reason why is because money hit your account yesterday. So that's the trick. One problem that we make, those of us who are professional salespeople, is when money hits our account, we relax. The money hits your account, you say, we thank God. You settle one or two things. Then you Netflix and chill for a bit. Maybe you go on a holiday. No. When money hits your account, that's the time to rev up. Rev up. When you have a few million in your bank account, when your commission has hit, that is the time to pick up the phone. That's the time to go into somebody's office. You drive into somebody's office, you come out of the car, the security guards, they will salute you because you're coming as if, you're not coming as if you're hungry. Because there's something in the bank account. So when you've been fed, when money has hit your account, that's the time to actually double down. Don't rest. So Fresh Prince, eventually one deal will close. But when it does, when you receive your commission, that's the time to double down. Because you sound like you like life. So, go and drink with your boys. But spend wisely. Spend wisely. Because nowadays alcohol is expensive. That's how one guy told me that normally 400k, that's the kind of thing he would spend on Hennessy. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the hell? 400k on top alcohol? For real? Anyway, so don't go and spend 400k on the boys. So, Bosha, you drink, you wake up, wash your face, and then start calling with confidence that there's something in your bank account. And always make sure that you have 3-4 people on call every single month. And hopefully all shall be well. So that's it. That's the end of the 3-part series. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, if this is your first time listening to the episode, scroll back. There are 2 others in this series. If you're discovering the show for the first time, please subscribe and share the show with others who might get value from it as well. And remember, if you'd love to connect with me, you can call me, send me a text message or WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140.